Hey, good evening, basketball fans. Welcome to the Upstate Hoops Podcast on FingerLakes1.com. I'm Jim Sinicropi here inside the FingerLakes1.com studios on the third floor of the North Park building in Seneca Falls, New York. Live on Sunday, December 10th, 2017. And tonight we're going to, usually on in the morning, but with wonderful Life weekend here in Seneca Falls. We were kind of tied up until late last night. So we're here for an early Sunday evening edition to get you caught up on everything that happened this week on the boys and girls side. I'm flying solo tonight up here in the studio. And I should remind you that the Upstate Hoops Podcast and all of our coverage of Wayne Finger Lakes High School basketball is brought to you thanks to the support of Generations Bank, with locations in Auburn, Farmington, Geneva, Phelps, Seneca Falls, Union Springs, and Waterloo. Check them out online at mygenbank.com, and by Dr. Rod Littlejohn, delivering over 30 years of smiles with style. Visit littlejohnortho.com. And by Bill Cram Chevrolet, where you can save plenty on 5 and 20 between Seneca Falls and Waterloo. Browse their full inventory of new and used vehicles at billcramchevrolet.com. And if you stop in, mention that you saw them on fingerlakes1.com and receive a $250 credit off the purchase of any new or used vehicle. So, it was a busy week of basketball here in the Wayne Finger Lakes. Really, the league play is getting underway in all three leagues, especially Friday night in the Finger Lakes East. There were some big games there, and the South Seneca girls lose a league game for the first time in a while, losing to Red Jacket. And the Bloomfield girls roll on. 4-0, they beat Lions last night, and the Lions boys beat the Bloomfield boys last night. So, but let's jump right into it. We got a couple interviews, too, from when we were out on the road on Thursday in Clyde and Friday in Newark, which, boy, that whole night in Newark was great. Big rivalry game between Mynderse and Newark, meeting for the first time this year in Newark, a rematch of the Class B sectional championship game. In the Blue Cross that Mynderse won. Mynderse hadn't won on that floor at Newark in 6 years, although that's not necessarily true because they installed a new floor this summer, so they hadn't won in that gym in 6 years. But right now, Mynderse is 1-0 against Newark on that new court, which is really sharp, by the way. We'll get a little glimpse of it prior to the interview we'll play for you. We had with Devin Anderson of Mynderse, who had 17 points in that win. So let's jump right into it. We got new power rankings too to update you on. So let's jump right into it with some boys results. Now Monday I was at this Mynderse Avon game, at least the first three quarters, and you really didn't need to see much more than the first quarter to see that Mynderse is playing a fast up and down 90 feet style of basketball that was pretty effective against Avon because they jumped out to, or Avon I should say, because they jumped out to a 28-2 lead and never looked back. All 11 Mynderse Blue Devils scored in that one. And then Quentin Battle was the leading scorer with 13, and Jake Robinson had his second straight double-digit game with 12. And then also on Monday night, Dundee gets a win. Honeyway falls to Notre Dame Batavia. That's a tough draw early season in a tournament that they were, I think, no, that one wasn't the tournament game. We'll get to the tournament. Naples won a nice tournament this weekend. Byron Burgeon lost to HAC. So HAC really on the swing after coming in at 10 in our power rankings last week. We'll see how they do the rest of the week here. Granada beat Williamson pretty good, and this was a bit of a surprise because we thought Williamson was going to be tough this year, honestly. And we knew Granada was going to be tough, but they were another team we were wondering how good they were going to be. So it might be a combination of Williamson maybe not being as good as we thought, and Granada maybe being a little better. So, moving on to Tuesday, Pal Mac and Coach Nolan get a win over Virtus, 52-40. Penn Yan boys double up Attica on the road, winning 80-40. And then Newark challenging themselves again with a tough Class A opponent, Webster Thomas, lose 45-35 at home. Taylor Clements had a nice game, though, with 15 points and 14 rebounds in that one. And then Clyde-Savannah on the road at Red Creek puts up 80. Marcus Chance had 34 of them. Derek Chance had 31 of them. Kind of a short roster on Clyde. We saw him on Thursday, and we'll talk about that coming up when we get to Thursday's results. North Rose Wolcott dropped one to Marion. And East Rochester beat Sodus pretty easily, 53-39. John Lexer, 17 points and 20 boards in that for Lexer. So moving on to Wednesday. Now, Mid-Lakes is certainly a team that we're expecting to see good things from. It's Bryce Burry's senior year. They got a great big man in Tillman and another pretty big body in Devin Hicks and a lot of other players on that roster that have some experience. So we're thinking now they're in Class B, so on the high end of things, you want to see Mid-Lakes contend for the Finger Lakes East title and a Class B sectional title. Well, against Class B Livonia in their own gym, it was a 13-point loss. The Bulldogs win that one 62-49 on Wednesday night. So we'll have to see how Mid-Lakes fares when they get into league play. But I thought that was an interesting barometer game there against a team that Newark beat in the semifinals of Class B last year in doubleheader in Victor's gym. Some West action. Honeoye goes at Dundee and wins 45-36. And this was, I know, we're learning about these teams right now. And Dundee, I was thinking might be a little better than we thought, potentially to contend for the league. And Honeoye wins on the road. And congratulations to John Marble, by the way, scored his 1,000th point this week. That's a great accomplishment for any high school player, obviously. 1,000 points for Honeoye's John Marble. Marcus Whitman goes to Naples and beats Naples 59-49. And I'm telling you, this is one of the few things that Naples has not, I have not been impressed by Naples with is this game at home losing by 10 to Whitman. Now, if we had to pick, we got Whitman maybe battling Bloomfield for the league title in the West this year, but nice win for Whitman on the road. South Seneca boys beat Red Jacket 42-41. And as I mentioned off the top, the South Seneca girls lost to Red Jacket. So I wonder when the last time that the South Seneca boys beat a league opponent on the same night that the girls lost to that same opponent. I don't know if they keep those kind of stats, but it would be interesting. It might have been a while. If anybody out there can remember, shoot us an email or send us a tweet at FingerLakes1. Contact at FingerLakes1.com is our email address. And then, Bloomfield on the road beat HAC 52-50. I'd say that's a pretty good win. The HAC boys are looking pretty good, and it's a situation, too, where you're looking at Class D HAC against Class C2, I think it might be Bloomfield. So I guess there isn't as much separation there for sectional points. And then Thursday, East Rochester beats Williamson on the road by 9. Lions jumps out to a big lead on Marion and wins 84-38. Justice Smith had a couple dunks. They were both circulating on Twitter, but there was one nice two-handed dunk off a steal with a guy, and he kind of jumped over a guy, dunked on him, posterized him a little bit maybe. And And so that was making the rounds on Twitter for sure. And I actually mentioned the dunk when we interviewed Derek Chance coming up here in a second, after I tell you about North Rose Wolcott edging out Red Creek in a big rivalry game at North Rose Wolcott High School on Thursday night, 43-42. And that would be the second straight meeting where these guys were decided by 1 point, or one possession, I should say. Last year's game went to overtime, and we covered that one. It was Nick Klein and Tyler Norris's last game against each other, and it was Tyler Norris's last game in that gym, actually. But, man, that was a great game, and as I mentioned, we did the Clyde-Savannah Gananda game. Clyde-Savannah won 81-53, but Gananda jumped out to a quick start, and weren't sure if Drew Carnevale was going to play because he had an ankle injury. Well, he did end up playing and scoring 12 points. They didn't use him as much as he normally would have, but he looked good, actually, when he was out there. Did a lot of great things, and he's important to Clyde for so many reasons. First of all, he's their tallest player, even though he's playing more of like a 3 than a 4 or 5. But him and Logan Blankenberg are the two shooters in this league that can make NBA range 3-pointers. Where if they're shooting an open NBA range 3-pointer, it's not a bad shot. So we're glad to see him on the court. And there's 3 Chance brothers now. And so we knew about Marcus and we knew about Derek, obviously. They're both seniors now. And Derek had an outstanding game. I mean, he's at the peak of his abilities right now. And this is his last go-around. And might be, he's certainly a candidate for the Wayne Finger Lakes Player of the Year, no doubt. He was pretty much unstoppable. He ended up with 31 points, but honestly, 33 points. It felt like if he wanted to, he could have scored 50. And then Marcus Chance had 20 points, and that's a Marcus Chance looked better than we saw him Clyde a couple times last year, and Marcus Chance this year just seems to me to be a little more solid and consistent and focused, which is important because, as I mentioned, Clyde has 8 guys on the roster. And then we had Cam Chance, the freshman, who might be the biggest of all. I think, pretty sure he's the tallest. And he did some great things, got into some early foul trouble, which as a freshman, he's going to learn if he wants to stay on the court with his brothers. He needs to avoid those early fouls. But yeah, very, very athletic and going to be counted on to provide a lot of rebounding for this team in Clyde. And should also mention sophomore Isaiah Lee came off the bench and did a lot of good things for him. So, again, when you got that 8-man roster, you might be looking at going 6-7 deep some games. And so who are these guys on the bench that are going to contribute? And between Marketel and, really everybody on that roster is fine and going to help you on the court. But I first look at the sophomore Isaiah Lee, did a lot of nice things. So after that game on Thursday night, we talked to Derek Chance. I called that game myself with Kevin Sharp, and Derek came over for the post game, and here we go.
To my right's a guy that has been on the Dr. Rod Smiles with Style post game show before. And certainly it wasn't a tough decision tonight. 33 points. Congratulations on a win.
Thank you.
Now, when you guys, let me just adjust this for you a little bit. There you go. When you guys came into tonight's game, you had one game against Red Creek. Drew Carnevale's a little banged up with the ankle. You're not even sure if he's going to play. You've got a small roster as it is. Mm-hmm. And then Ganana's making some noise. They beat an A2 team in Geneva. They almost beat a B team in Mid Lakes. They only lose by 4 to Mid Lakes. And then they really roll all over Williamson. So we were saying, geez, we thought it was going to be Clyde Lions for the Wayne County title, but Gananda might have something to say about that. Mm-hmm. And then you guys were down 9 early.
Start.
And then after that, it was like no contest, right?
Yeah. We just picked it up. We knew you guys were going to be here. We knew everyone was watching. We knew we had a big crowd coming in. Told everyone in school to come watch the game. It was going to be a good one. We know we had people from other towns watching us, scouting us. So we knew we had to make noise, make a statement. So we had to pick it up, had to play better defense. We're getting beat back. We couldn't let little mental errors stop us. So we just picked it up, made our shots, played better defense, and we came back.
Yeah, I thought the difference was, the first half, first part of the game, they were getting their runouts off your press.
Mm-hmm.
You looked like you guys were letting people get over the top, and then you made that adjustment, and it wasn't as easy for them any longer. But I got to tell you, as a former Clyde player, as a former Clyde coach, I'm really proud of how you've handled yourself here.
Thank you.
You're one of the best athletes the school has ever had, but the way you carry yourself, like you've done it before, it brings me happiness to watch you play and watch your success.
Thank you.
I've always liked how you carried yourself.
Thanks.
You're a leader. Just keep leading.
All right.
Now, it was a surprise to see Drew out here.
Yeah, we
weren't
didn't know
sure.
if he was going to play before the game.
And, of course, he comes in 12 points, and probably didn't play as many minutes as he would have if he was completely healthy and it was a closer ball game in the second half. But what I was really impressed with was both your brothers,
Mm-hmm.
but Marcus seems to have recommitted, or maybe he's just feeling a little more 100% healthy. But he finished with 20 points.
Yeah, he had a good game.
Was pretty impressive on both ends of the court.
Yeah. We knew we had to step up. We don't have a big roster, and honestly, we don't have a lot of scorers. So people come in, they know that they have to play the role. Me and Marcus had to step up big, not knowing if Drew was going to play. Drew came in. He's not 100% healthy, so we know it. Us two had to make a statement like scoring for our team. Other players had to come and make the role that they have to play. So me and Marcus just found our groove and we just kept going.
The way you guys played tonight, if Drew's not 100% healthy, look out for the rest of your schedule, because it was pretty impressive tonight how you put up points in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
And look out for the rest of Class D, too, because you guys now in Class D by one student, right?
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about that?
We don't really care.
Yeah.
Coach said that he wanted to move us up to C anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But, we're just going to play. People probably are going to say stuff like, oh, you guys are in D. Doesn't matter if you guys win, but it's not our fault. And we're just going to play. Doesn't matter who we have to play.
Sometimes D1 is tougher than C2
Yeah.
or C3, yeah.
It doesn't matter if we play AA,
Yeah.
D2, whatever it is. We're just going to play, and we're going to try to win every game.
They give you the block and they give you the banner,
Yep.
no matter what
Right.
class it is. And another good news is that it's back in the Blue Cross
Yeah,
this year
Blue
for
Cross.
Class D. So
None of us has ever played the Blue Cross.
yeah, which is kind of hard to believe, just having followed you for the past 4 years. Now, your youngest brother, Cam, he's a freshman now.
Mm-hmm.
How much of an advantage is it for Cam to have 1 year with you on the team? You're a senior. You're the senior leader of this team. And his other brother, Marcus, also a senior. You guys helping him along? Or
Yeah, it's not just me as a senior, but the sports we played, football and basketball, it's mostly all of the senior class. So he's playing with a lot of seniors, a lot of leadership, both sports. So he's taking notes on everything. I feel like he's gonna have a good career.
Well, hey, congratulations on the win. 2-0 to start the season, 2-0 in Wayne County.
Yep.
What do you got? Lions on January 5th at the Atwood this year.
All right.
You ready for that one? Did I tell you Justice Smith had a couple dunks tonight?
Yeah.
Big one next Wednesday, though, right? ADR?
Yeah, ADR.
That's
Yeah.
another big one, yeah. Gotta love Wayne County basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
Go ahead and get in there with your
We're ready to
teammates.
celebrate.
Get you out of the way here. So there you go. Have a little something for Marcus Chance. Or no, Derek Chance, excuse me. I mentioned off the top I'm a little tired right now, so get back to looking through some of the boys' results. We had, what was that, Thursday night? Yeah, Thursday night was going on to Clyde, so let me get, we got to go through, excuse me, Friday and Saturday. Before we get to Friday, I'm going to do Saturday. I'm going to skip a day and then go back. Last night, Lions 67, Bloomfield 47. Lions won easily when Bloomfield came to the Atwood, and Lions goes to the Bomber Barn and gets a 20-point win. Justice Smith, 23 points, 11 boards, 7 assists, and 3 blocks. His brother, freshman Justin Smith, 13 points, and Pat Geithner and Tanner Kimball had 15 for Bloomfield. And Naples beat Campbell Simona to win the Dansville tournament
championship, 59-53. So congratulations to Mick Salters, Big Green Machine. And that Bloomfield Lions game, Lions, a little slow start to the season. Nice win on the road against one of the better teams in the Finger Lakes West. And so now if I can take a look at Friday. Penn over Palmac, but only 48-41. Like, we've been just kind of disregarding Palmac. I want to take a look and see what Coach Nolan has on that roster. It's just they lost Hawkins and McLean, and they've had a lot of losses over the past 2 years since they were in this Blue Cross Arena for the Class B championship game against Newark. Mid-Lakes, 49-41 win over Waterloo at home. That was the last time Waterloo was in that gym. Ransom Benedict's hit a three-pointer at the buzzer to cap it. And actually, it's the first thing you see on every episode of the Upstate Hoops Podcast is part of our intro. But nonetheless, nice league win. Mid-Lakes 49, Waterloo 41. Wayne beat Geneva pretty good. Man, that was a game that you kind of looked at and wondered. Geneva having won that Waterloo tournament. So you kept an eye on it, and big 23-point win for Wayne, again, without Braden Zanelovic still out with that injury he sustained in football, lower body injury. Marcus Whitman, 50, Dundee 38 at Whitman, and then Red Jacket over Romulus, 58-41. Matt Record with 21 points in that one for Red Jacket. Honeyway 67, South Seneca 55. And mentioned the first night of that Dansville tournament, Naples beat Campo Savona 53-31. Greece Odyssey all over Sodus. Gananda bounces back from that win against that Clyde game with a 70-40 win over Marion. So back up to the top, that Mynderse Newark game. Mynderse 55, Newark 48. That was a game that we've always marked on the schedule as soon as it comes out. We've been there the past, I don't know how many years we brought our crew over there to broadcast that one live. Maybe each of the four or 5 years, maybe 4 years at least. And every time Newark turned them away. Mynderse had a lot of success against Newark at the Arthur L. Baker likewise, but it always seemed like the home team held serve. And instead, this Friday night, Mynderse hands Newark their fourth loss of the season, so they're 0-4. Probably nobody's played a tougher schedule, and I'm sure they're going to start picking up wins. Maybe not easily, once the league play starts. There's not a lot of easy wins out there, but I imagine they're going to get that record back to 500 or better by New Year's Day. So, anyways. Mynderse looked really good. They were up 16 points in the fourth quarter, and that was with, if you're looking for maybe some kind of knock on Mynderse, they don't really have a ton of size and depth inside. And Jake Robinson picked up 2 fouls early, and so he had to come out, and didn't seem to matter much. They held Clements in check. They didn't let him get the ball. He didn't get a lot of opportunities close to the basket. I don't know exactly what they did to neutralize DeAndre Saunders, but he was quiet. Really a late fourth quarter scoring run by senior Terry Anglin was probably the bright spot for Newark. They had a little trouble with Mynderse pressure. They didn't shoot well. Mynderse did shoot well. Devin Anderson, I think he had 3 3-pointers, but he was our player of the game in this one. And rather than me go on and talk about this game, he sat in with Brendan Harrington and Tani Robinson for the Dr. Rod Littlejohn Smiles with Style post-game show, and we'll play that one for you right now.
Devin, you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, got to get your mic up there. There you go. Well, Devin, thanks for joining us. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I guess I'll start off by saying that I know, talking with some of the people from Mynderse, you guys were really focused on coming in and getting a win in Newark. This group hadn't got a win here. We think it's been about 6 years since Mynderse has come in here and gotten a win. So talk to us a little bit about how you guys approached this game.
Well, For the past week, we've just been preparing for it. We've been talking about how we want the big men to beat us. We didn't want to. Taylor had how many points, and we still wanted to. Doesn't matter how many points he had. We wanted the big men to beat us. We didn't want the guards to beat us, and we just wanted to win. It's been 6 years, and finally got a win out here. Yeah.
What do you think, looking at this game, was the key in terms of you guys coming away with the win? Was it more on the defensive end, offensively? What do you think you guys did well today?
I think it varied at times. There's at times where our defense looked good, and there was times where it looked bad, and our offense looked pretty good most of the night. So it just varied at times.
You were scoring in bunches throughout the night, and defensively, it sounds like one of the coach's keys to the game was you're going to let Clements get his points, but you're going to make sure you limited those guards, and it really looked like you were pressing up on them throughout the game, created a lot of turnovers defensively.
Yep, that was the goal. Just let Taylor do whatever he does, and let the guards. We don't want to let the guards score a lot. Just try to stop them. That was the goal.
Talk a little bit about playing under the new coaching staff this year. And when we say new coaching staff, I mean you're familiar with these guys, but Coach Korzaneski at the helm now, and of course Coach Prane came in halfway through last year. But what about the style that they have you playing? You guys have fun playing the up-tempo style?
Oh, yeah, we love this style. He wants us pushing the ball the whole game, doesn't want us to stop, and it's just great. Never played like this before, and it's fun this year. A lot more fun.
Seems like you guys are in real good shape, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've been working on that. We've been running a lot more at practice, and anytime we do something wrong, he freaks out on us, makes us run.
Corsi?
Yeah.
No, that can't be right. Well, what was it for you today in terms of getting going offensively? Was the three ball got you going in the second quarter? It seems like that's when you guys, as a team, found your groove offensively, was in the second quarter.
Yeah, we know we can. Probably one of our best things is probably a three ball. We got almost all of our players can shoot the three ball. Even one of our big men, Darren Miller, and Hunter Haas can.
Yep. So
we know when we start hitting a few threes, that's when we get going. And then we can, if they start coming out on us, we just go by them to the basket and we dump down low to them. That's what starts us, the three ball.
It seemed like in the second quarter, too, that in the half court, offensively, you guys were executing well. Did you see that from down there in terms of your spacing was good? You got the ball in a couple times to Haas, and he kicked it out and really left you with some good looks.
Yeah, I noticed that. We've been working on that a lot, too, just our composure and our patience with the offense, and it's been working great.
Where do you go from here? Obviously, you were focused on this game against Newark. Now you got a week before you play again. How do you see this season unfolding?
So far, it's looking really good. We got to keep practicing, keep working hard in the gym, and got to focus on one opponent at a time. Next, we got Mid-Lakes Friday, and that's our next goal right there.
Definitely. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Another victory. You guys start off 3-0. Was it good to get a little bit of a challenge in this game in terms of, in the fourth quarter, managing a lead? I mean, the other two games, you guys were up big time.
Yeah.
Was that something you think you guys will learn from?
Oh, yeah, definitely. The first two games, obviously, we didn't really have a challenge, but this game was a gut check for us, and I think we pulled out good. All
right. Well, congratulations. We appreciate you joining us, and go enjoy that victory.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it. Devin Anderson finished with 17 points to lead the way for this Mynderse team tonight. And just to run through the scoring here real quickly, 3 players in double figures for Mynderse, 17 from Anderson, 12 from Battle, 10 from Hunter Haas. And then Jesse Cabot off the bench with 5. Kellen Caraher with 4. Keegan Baker hit a 3-ball in the second quarter for 3. And then Jake Robinson and Darren Miller each finished with 2. So everybody who played tonight for Mynderse scored a total in this one of 55 points as they score.
And there you have it. Left it on for you a little bit so you can hear the final recaps and two things, not really related to the play on the court, but one is, did you see the new court? It is awesome, like that huge end in the middle. It's just really sharp. They did athletic director Chris Gorey did a great job with that. It's a beautiful, beautiful court. Probably the best floor in the Finger Lakes. So anyways, the other thing is that, Newark, great accommodations. We love going over there. From the attention we get from Chris Corey, the athletic director, always making sure that we're set. That sweet backdrop that we get to use in our broadcast behind the announcers. The IT staff over there has always made it easy for us to stream out at a high quality. And the broadcast vantage point up at the top. There's even room for us to bring equipment up. A lot of places have that perch at midcourt, and but there's not enough room. We have to carry things up piecemeal. But there we can just haul it all up there. The setup's pretty easy. Breakdown's pretty easy, and yeah, we love going there. So from the fans to the coaches to the staff, they always treat us great at Newark. We love going over there. And the other thing, nice to hear Brendan Harrington and Tony Robinson together calling games again. Those guys make Finger Lakes 1 look good and refined. They just got such a nice flow, great knowledge. So it's fun now that we're starting the new season to get some of these familiar faces and voices back on the mic. Which, by the way, we've been missing Dave Barnick. He had knee surgery on Monday. That went well. He's recovering. We're hoping that his debut with us will be that chiropractic game, or the tip-off classic, or the holiday classic now at the chiropractic college. The first 2 of those 4 games he's scheduled to do. And so we hope he'll be able to get there for that and get back in the swing of things. So, speaking of upcoming webcasts, we've got South Seneca girls taking on the Mynderse girls, and what should be a great game Monday night. Tomorrow night, live from Seneca Falls, it's going to be myself and Mike Alessio calling that one on FL1 radio, and then we're going to restream it probably about 10:30 will be the time for that video restream, the full video replay. So live on FL1 radio at 7:30. Myself and Mike Alessio will have the call. I'm sitting in for Dave Marnick on that one. And then you can watch it at 10:30 or the next day. So that's not all that we got going on this week here at FL1 Sports. We're also going to be in the Bomber Barn at Bloomfield as the Marcus Whitman Wildcats take on Bloomfield. This could be the 2 teams to contend. They're both off to a great start. Whitman losing to both losing out of league contest to East opponents, Whitman to Mynderse, or in Bloomfield, to Wayne, to Lions out of Wayne County. So Brendan Harrington and Tony Robinson will have the call live on FL1 radio at 7:30. Video replay for that one, 11 o'clock sounds about right. And looking forward to getting some Finger Lakes West action in. And then moving forward from there, next Wednesday we'll have a Waterloo against Mynderse in Waterloo. That should be a good one. Waterloo looks to be much improved, even though the record might not indicate it. And then after that, it'll be Penn Yan at Geneva. They're playing that one in Waterloo too because of the fact that Geneva is renovating their home court. And then just a little break for Christmas, but not much because we're back for a quadruple header on Thursday, December 28th. At the New York Chiropractic College for the Holiday Classic, Waterloo, South Seneca, then Mid-Lakes Lions. That's like the one to me. When I look at that, it's getting me excited and intrigued. It'll be our first look at Bryce Burry, and he'll be matching up with Justice Smith, or Justin, who knows? Both of those guys. And then the Mynderse girls versus Red Creek, and then the Mynderse boys versus Clyde, which, oh my man, after watching Clyde on Thursday night, I'm so excited to see them play again and be the way Mynderse is playing right now, in their fast-paced style of play and the quickness of their guards. That Mynderse Clyde game is going to be incredible for the nightcap. It's going to be incredible. So that's what's going on for the remainder of the month here at Finger Lakes 1. Now let's kick things over to the girls' side of things. We are short on time. I thought this might be a short episode, but we are short on time, so I'm going to pull up the girls' results for the week. And you'll see that we're starting out on Tuesday night. We had Mynderse and Bishop Kearney. Heidi Miller had 11 points, 10 rebounds, but Kearney too much, although Mynderse stayed with them. It was a 2 or 4 point game at halftime. Aquinas, Finger Lakes East opponent, is seeing a lot of Aquinas so far this year, and they took care of Pelmac 60-43. Webster Thomas over Wayne 64-24. Now again, this one was like that's a big deficit for Wayne girls. We're gonna have to see how they do when they get into league play. Gabby Zanelovic with 8 rebounds. Phyllis Reed with 8 points in that one. And Bloomfield 53, HAC 28. The Bloomfield girls have been wildly impressive. Braylon Scott in this one, she's got 4 straight double-doubles. 4 straight double-doubles. And in HAC is a solid team. And Bloomfield took care of them rather easily there by 25. Whitman loses to Naples 51-48, and the Naples girls are looking up. Big fan of both these teams. Sarah Glavine, 18.6 rebounds. Haley Langan, 15 points and 15 rebounds. Emily Thompson had 17 for Marcus Whitman in that loss. Honeywell over Dundee, 51-30. And then there was this game, the Red Jacket South Seneca game. And not only did Red Jacket win, but they won by 11, 55-44. South Seneca on the road. So, obviously a whole new set of girls on the court together out there for South Seneca, and needing to, I think they'll get better as the year goes on. We're going to see them in person tomorrow against Mynderse, and I'm really excited about that one tomorrow night at 7:30. Emma Fletcher led South Seneca with 15. Logan Chalice had 9 points and 9 rebounds. Skylar Chalice had 5 points and 10 rebounds. For Red Jacket, Sarah Van Aken had 16 points. And Romulus beat Hammondsport. And Mid-Lakes girls, they beat Livonia 60-38. Moving ahead to Wednesday night, Red Creek, nice win over East Rochester. I think the Red Creek team's for real. Easily favorites here in Wayne County, and that win proved it. 23-point win over East Rochester. Gananda handled Sodas 52-33. I should mention that Red Creek game, Alex Mosqueda had 25 points and 5 assists. Izzy Wilbur had 16 points. And then the Route 31 rivalry on the girls' side, Lions beats Clyde-Savannah 64-27. As we move ahead to take a look here at Thursday and the rest of the girls' action, Marcus Whitman 63, Dundee 22, Jordan Chappelle 17, Emily Thompson 10 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 7 steals. Geneseo all over the Honeoye Lady Bulldogs 46-23. Bloomfield over Naples 60-57 on the road. Braylon Scott 37 points, 19 rebounds. Jessie Sheehan 11 points. Haley Langan 24 points, 11 rebounds for Naples in that one. But Braylon Scott 37 points, 19 rebounds on the road. You kidding me? Friday night, Romulus took on Waterloo, and Waterloo won. And yeah, Waterloo's B and Romulus is D, but Waterloo girls have been really impressive so far this year. Really impressive. And then you take a closer look, and Jillian Panic now is a sophomore. Logan Castiglione's a senior. Just a lot of talent on Tim Lincoln's squad there. That Minders, when they start playing some East games, it's going to be really interesting to see. The Finger Lakes East girls is wide open this year. Sodas and Red Creek. Red Creek again, 67-38 over the Lady Spartans. Isabella Wilbur, 21 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Alex Mosqueda, 15 points, 7 steals. Emma Griffin, 10 points. Fatima Finley, 13 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists for Sodas. And here it is. A few years ago, this was the marquee matchup in girls basketball around here. Geneva and Wayne. Geneva wins 56-45 over Wayne in that one. And then Minders, Newark. Newark girls have been looking good, but Minders all over them, 57-43. Pale Mac beat Penyan in overtime. Clyde-Savannah lost to Gananda, but 36-22 in Clyde-Savannah. The Clyde girls are also better than they were last year. North Rose, Wolcott, Williamson. Wolcott 40, Williamson 27, and then Lions beats Marion. Nice win for Lions, 46-37. Allison Cook had 17 points. Kaden Crago, 10 points, 4 assists, 8 steals. And Adriana Kemp, 9 points and 8 rebounds. And then finally on Saturday, you got Romulus losing by 10 to Aquinas, which was kind of shocking result, actually. A versus a D. But Kayla Smith for Lions not playing that game. Not to diminish from the effort from the Lady Warriors at all, but she didn't play. Marcus Whitman, 34 at HAC, 30. Marcus Whitman, Jordan Chappelle, 17 points, 12 rebounds. Adelaide Flood had 12 points and 7 rebounds for the Wolves. Waterloo rolls on with a nice win over Wayland Cohocton. Wayland Cohocton, coached by Al Best, former Minders coach. Minders beat them in the Class B sectional finals last year, so good win for Waterloo in Waterloo. This was part of a tournament. Waterloo wins their own girls tournament there, 50-36. And then Bloomfield handles a tough Lions girls team, kind of the opposite of the boys result, with a pretty impressive 52-36 win at home in Bloomfield. Adriana Kemp had 17 points and 8 rebounds for Lions, and then Braylon Scott, 11 points, 16 rebounds. Braylon, if we did voting right now, I think it would be tough not to give Braylon Scott the Player of the Year on the girls' side, but that's if we did voting right now. While we're here, let's just take a look at the week ahead for the girls. I went the wrong way. We have a Monday night. There's that South Seneca at Minders game, 7:30 on Finger Lakes 1. Red Jacket at HAC, Bloomfield at Dansville, East Rochester. So does Clyde at Red Creek. Tuesday night, I'm just going to show these on your screen, but give you some of the highlights. Games that we're going to be looking at. Mid-Lakes at Waterloo. Now there's one. That's what I'm talking about. Mid-Lakes was number 1 last week. We'll see if they hold that spot shortly here. Going at Waterloo. Upstart undefeated Waterloo girls. North Rose Wolcott at Whitman. That Romulus-Naples game is going to be a good one in Naples. We'll see if the Romulus girls are ready to contend for the Finger Lakes West that their rival from the South, the Lady Falcons, have held for so long. And then there's a matchup where Aquinas is actually playing someone close to their class at the A2, Wayne, but Aquinas continues its Wayne Finger Lakes tour. Aranda Coit at Newark. Thursday night, that's Wednesday only game. Thursday night, some Wayne County action. HAC at Honeoye is a good game in the West. And then looking at Friday, always a decent-sized slate there. Dundee at Romulus and Geneva at Newark. Pelmac at Wayne. Waterloo at Penn Yan. That should be a good one. Bloomfield at Whitman should be a good one on the girls' side. Again, we'll see if Braylon Scott can pick off another league contender on the road. Naples at Red Jacket, and we haven't talked much about Red Jacket, others that they beat South Seneca, but obviously if I'm going to say that Whitman and Bloomfield and Naples are all contenders, Red Jacket's obviously there too, so that'll be a good one to see. And then Saturday, Byron Burgeon at East Rochester, and Mid-Lakes at Minders. That's a huge East game in the East early. That's Saturday at Arthur L. Baker. So let's kick it over to the boys for a quick look at the week ahead before we reveal our power rankings. And on Monday night, you're going to see Greece Odyssey take on Penn Yan. In Penn Yan, Marcus Whitman at North Rose Wolcott. Mid-Lakes at Gananda. Gananda played at Mid-Lakes. Mid-Lakes won by 4. We'll see how it goes at Gananda. Pelmac at Williamson. Tuesday night, Bloomfield at Honeoye. And that Finger Lakes West boys is wide open. It looks to me to be Whitman, but we'll see if Bloomfield can get a win ahead of that big game against Whitman on Thursday night. Dundee at South Seneca, HAC at Red Jacket, Naples at Romulus, Geneva at Virtus, Marcus Whitman at Livonia. Wednesday night, Clyde at East Rochester, which again we just said, we were talking all last week, Clyde versus Lions for the Wayne County title. Maybe Gananda. Well, Clyde beat Gananda pretty good. So let's see about East Rochester. And then Lions at Red Creek. North Rose Wolcott at Gananda, Williamson at Sodas. Thursday night, as we move ahead even further here in the calendar, Newark at Geneva. And Newark needs to start winning games. So if they happen to go to Geneva and that doesn't work out, that would put them at 0-5. And if you're you're a new first-year head coach in Henry Caparis, and everybody knows that the schedule has been tough, but you want to start winning, right? You don't want to dig too big of a hole. And now these are league games too; they count. So that'll be a game to keep an eye on there. Newark against Brian Miller's Geneva Panthers, who have shown that they can win basketball games. Marcus Whitman at Bloomfield, and there's the one. Brendan Harrington and Tony Robinson will be on the call at 7:30 for that one. Red Jacket at Naples, Romulus at Dundee. Friday night, Mid-Lakes at Mynderse. We're going to cover the Mynderse at Mid-Lakes games. There's actually going to be part of a girls-boys doubleheader later this season. But Friday night, it's Mid-Lakes at Mynderse. So some really great Finger Lakes East basketball on the boys' side at Arthur L. Baker on Friday, and then the girls on Saturday. Penn Yan at Waterloo. Should be an interesting matchup. Desmond Batten against Saluka. Derek Saluka for Waterloo. Wayne at Pelmac. East Rochester at North Rose Wolcott. Gananda at Lions. So we'll see now. Gananda unsuccessful beating Clyde. Let's see how they do against Lions at the Atwood. Red Creek at Marion. Sodas at Clyde. And Sodas has been a thorn in Clyde's side actually in recent years, pulling more than their share of upsets. So keep an eye on that one Friday night. And then Saturday, is that it? There's no game Saturday because we are starting to move closer and closer to the actual Christmas holiday here in the Finger Lakes. So, time maybe for some power rankings. We'll start with the boys. Yeah, let's start with the boys' power rankings. As usual, we're just going to drop them in for you right here. And Gananda drops to 10. I think they were 7. East Rochester debuts at 9. Lions was a big dropper. Big drop after from 4 or 5 down to 8. But we'll see if they can bounce back on the week ahead. It was a good start by that handily beating Bloomfield. The Geneva Panthers at 7. Remember, they lost some games, but they beat Lions in the opening round of the tournament, Waterloo. And then they went on and beat Weedsport. Newark. There were some folks that wanted Newark out of the top 10. And I said, no, enough of us think that they should stay in despite the 0-4 record. They're certainly one of the best 10 teams in the Wayne Finger Lakes. But, like I said, let's see what happens in that Geneva game. That would be a number 6 versus number 7 matchup right here in our power rankings. Penn Yan Mustangs at number 5. Their highest ranking ever since we started doing these power rankings 5 years ago. Clyde-Savannah jumps up to 3. And then you got Mynderse at 2 and Wayne at 1. And let me tell you, that's very, very close right now. Mynderse has been super impressive, and people can't get over that Zanilovic injury, even though he is coming back. But even when he does come back, eventually, hopefully in January, there might be an adjustment period for that team. So I think that they play on January 5th, Mynderse in Wayne in Seneca Falls. So they're 1 and 2 right now in our power rankings, and a ton of teams just outside that 10th spot. That with a couple wins this week, you'll see them there next week. And a lot of these teams now starting to play each other. It's going to help us figure things out because it is kind of confusing right now with a new season. But let's take a look at the girls. If I can find it over here, it's right here. Let's look at the girls. See Mid-Lakes right off the bat up there at number 1. And then Bloomfield leapfrogs Mynderse with some impressive wins. Mynderse is going to be ashamed. They've lost to Bishop Kearney. They look good in their win against Newark Friday. They look really good. So you got Red Creek jumping up to 4. With some nice wins, and they'll face Mynderse. So lucky for us this year when these two teams right now are both in the top 5 of the power rankings. They're set to face off on December 28th at the Chiropractic College, but we'll have to wait and see if they're still both up there. A lot of games between now and then. Red Jacket with the upset of South Seneca. Maybe it's not an upset. Maybe it's not. But nonetheless, that's a big win that everyone took notice of. Red Jacket jumps up to 5. Sydney Close and Sarah Van Aken. Red Jacket might be a lot better than we were giving them credit for, or maybe we just didn't notice because there's a lot of teams out here, and they might have flown under our radar, but they're up to 5. South Seneca drops from 2 to 6. And tomorrow night, they can regain a lot of that credibility back with a win over Mynderse That's against South Seneca C2, Mynderse B. Some nice sectional points available there for the South Seneca Lady Falcons if they win on the road against Mynderse. And Mynderse needing some wins, too, to get going here, heading into league play. Have to challenge themselves with Aquinas and the likes of Bishop Kearney. Palmac girls at 7. Waterloo girls make a debut at 8. They're undefeated, and they could quickly rise higher with some wins over this next week, these next 2 weeks. I think they're playing, and we know they're playing Mynderse, not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. And then the Romulus girls hanging around there at 9. Geneva girls dropped to 10. And then, honestly, that got really tricky from 9 up to 15 probably. There's probably 9 to 15. You could have put anybody in there at 9 and 10. It was really, really close. So things starting to take shape. Things getting excited here on the boys and girls side of the things here in the Wayne Finger Lakes leagues. So I'm glad that we were able to get this in tonight. I knew we wouldn't be able to do it this morning. We just decided not too long ago that we're going to go ahead and do a show tonight and get it in the books. We still have about 9 minutes left here before the hour, but I think we're going to cut it a little short. We've got to everything that we needed to get to, and anything else I can talk about. First of all, I called that game with Kevin Sharp, and if you're a fan of high school basketball and you see Kevin Sharp set to do any of our games, you should tune in because super knowledgeable about every team, and he has known so much about so many players from his exposure at the AAU level. He watches a lot of AAU games in the summer. And then, of course, loves to get out to the gym for high school basketball. And I had a great time calling that Clyde game. It was just a lot of fun. And so if you see him on the broadcast schedule, tune in for that. And then again, I said it earlier, Brendan Harrington and Tane Robinson, they're like our geez, when you get the premier pairing for the Final Four for college basketball or for the NBA Finals call, I think those would be the guys we'd have to go with. Those guys really elevate our broadcast when they're together, and they'll be together Thursday night in Marcus Whitman, and they're both West guys. They're both Naples grads, those guys. Brendan used to call games for UNC Asheville. One year they got an NCAA bid when he was there, and Tane Robinson is a teacher at Palmac and involved with the tennis program over there as well. But we really do have a lot of we're lucky with a lot of the experience that we're able to get behind the mics for these games, because that's what makes it a lot more legitimate and entertaining. We've all seen webcasts or even TV broadcasts where the guys on the mic just have no idea what they're talking about. Not that we're perfect, but we think that's a big part of what we do to make it entertaining and worth watching and listening to. So, what was one more thing I wanted to get to? Maybe slipping my mind. Let's see, we were talking about Mike Dozier's score wire is no more, okay? It doesn't exist. Anybody that follows high school basketball over the last decade, that's how you got your scores. They were there every night and with the leading scorers and updated standings. I mean, he's not doing it anymore, so now we have to scramble. It takes a lot longer to do nightly updates and keep things current. Phil Abel's doing a great job getting the scores on the Section 5 website, but that's all you're going to get are just the scores. And then we get some other information forwarded to us in terms of players and some descriptions of games. But if you're involved in Wayne Finger Lakes basketball in any way, even if you're just a fan in the seat and you can walk over to that scorebook and take a picture of it and send it to us, ideally one shot of each side for each team, or even just go over there and send us the leading scorers, okay? Or if you're in the stands and you see something that the way a game ended, guy hit a last-second shot, who hit it, where it was from, how a game played out, if a team blew a big lead, whatever it is, you can send that to us. contact@fingerlakes1.com is the email address. You can also reach out to me via that address, and I might be willing to, or I'll definitely be willing, if you're willing to give you a cell phone number that information can be texted to if it's easier, or those box scores can be sent to via text message. And then finally, Twitter's a great way to send us information, because we're monitoring it every night, because there's a lot of great activity on there. If you're a Wayne Finger Lakes or Section 5 basketball fan, that's really where you're going to get most of the late breaking information, like game scores as soon as the games end. And if you're a school that's not on Twitter, you really should be, and it should be just a standard part of your athletic department to make sure that the results of games are sent out via Twitter. So it's out there. It's more valuable than sending out press releases, or it's just a great way to get it out there too, especially to your own community of fans, because those are the ones that are going to be following you on Twitter. You're going to get the media following you and your own other fans and players and parents who are interested. So Twitter's a great thing there, and it's at FingerLakes1 is our Twitter handle, okay, at FingerLakes1. So now I'm sure that we've gotten to everything we need to get to. Today's December 10th, so we're 15 days from Christmas. I'm closing in on exactly 2 weeks from Christmas. And there's some fun stuff in high school basketball during the holiday week, and then you really get into league play, which goes by really quick, and next thing you know, it's sectionals. And so we're heading that way. And one thing we like to do on this podcast is kind of figure out which teams are going to be the contenders for league championships and which teams got a chance at sectionals. And sometimes it's not the same, because you got some intermix of classifications within some of the leagues, and so it's I think right now there's a lot of teams, especially on the girls' side. There's a lot of teams with sectional title good chance, and honestly on the boys' side too. Clyde-Savannah drops down to D again. That's not doesn't necessarily mean it's easier, but when you look at Clyde play, and then you look at some of the Wayne Finger Lakes teams that are Class D teams, you start to think, man, they're looking pretty good for sectionals. And we still await the Fresh Prince of Ontario's return to the hard court. Hopefully Braden Zenilovic is healing and getting well, and I'd love to see him get back for some regular season action, so the Eagles can hit their stride by sectionals and defend that A2 sectional championship, which will be very, very difficult to do, even though they did it. They have the exact same roster back. That was such a great run last year. So I want to make sure that we get Bill Thompson and some of his Wayne Eagles on this podcast coming up soon. I'll reach out to him, or if he's listening, just shoot me a line. We can maybe set up a date for an upcoming Sunday morning to get them down here. That's quite a drive. We'd also be willing to do it on via phone, but would love to do that. So anyways, thanks for joining us on the Upstate Hoops Podcast. Connect with us on Twitter at FingerLakes1. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Our audio-only podcast is available on iTunes and Stitcher.com. Archived episodes are available at FingerLakes1.tv, and this podcast airs weekly on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. on Finger Lakes TV, Spectrum Channel 12. You can also find our show, live stream games, and local news, weather, and sports 24/7 on the free FingerLakes1.com Android or iPhone app. I'm Jim Sinicropi. Have a great week, and we'll see you live again from Mynderse on Monday and from Bloomfield on Thursday, and then be right back here next Sunday morning.